With New Year's resolutions, many of us will make a vow to eat healthier, and that's a good thing. But what about our beloved pets and their nutrition? Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, and I'm on a mission to provide better nutrition for cats and dogs because truthfully, all pet food is dead food, which is why we created Rough Greens and Meow Greens in the first place. We bring their food back to life with live vitamins, minerals, probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, antioxidants, and so much more. All in a tasty formula that your dog and cat will love. You can improve your pet's coat, digestion, energy, and have less vet bills. Let 2025 bring a new year and a new pet. Get a Jumpstart trial bag, normally $20. Get a 100% discount with promo code BESTFRIEND. You discover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com, use promo code BESTFRIEND. Bring your pet's food back to life with Rough Greens. So good, your pet will ask for it by name.
Just in case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barrero's Top 5 at 5.
It is indeed that time again. Very busy day at TCO. It's still hard for me to believe we had to have the post-mortem press conference.
I know.
The sort of state of the state. Because we haven't even hit the divisional round of the playoffs, and we are already eliminated.
If Sam Darnold could have hit any of those red zone passes in the first couple of drives in Detroit, we might just be previewing their first game.
Think about it.
We might be talking about Washington coming to town.
Could have been so different.
But it's not.
But it's not.
It's not.
It's our lot in life, and we are no closer to getting to the big game. You'd already had plans to, well, I don't even know if you know this. We had plans designating you as the Winnebago driver because of your experience doing so.
Yeah, I can do that.
Driving several of us down to New Orleans for Super Bowl week. I mean, you know,
just follow the Mississippi River. It's not that hard.
That's all you do.
Yeah. Would have been great.
But
Bob Dylan, the Mississippi River. Uecker and Walton would be a good conversation.
Now it doesn't really make all that much sense, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
We shouldn't talk much anymore for the top 5 because Kwesi and KOC, as we know, talk a lot.
Did they say anything, though?
Not really.
Okay.
But let's start with Kwesi.
Okay.
Did Darnold's play change your quarterback plans?
You want to give yourselves options. You know, I think the draft is uncertain. Free agency, all this is uncertain.
Of course it is.
We brought in 2 guys that we think we could play at a high level quarterback in this position. And obviously, JJ being a high draft pick is somebody that you're invested in for the future and all those different things. How that looks timeline-wise, we didn't necessarily decide, but we knew that we really liked the room that we had, and we were confident in that. I always ask Kevin before the season starts, hey, something that one of my old bosses used to do to me, what information would you need to kind of change your mind? And say it beforehand so that you're not kind of whipped around with what potentially could happen. We've had those conversations beforehand. Look, we thought there was a chance Sam Darnold could play at a high level. Just seeing what he had done previous stops and what kind of Kevin's infrastructure and our infrastructure here has done for other quarterbacks that have played here, we thought there was a chance for a high level. Did I know it was going to be a Pro Bowl? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that. And I think I joked with Sam that I'm going to retire off the bet I made in Vegas. I'm kidding, not allowed to bet. But
he's going to get fined for that.
I think that there was some part of us that all believed that Sam was going to have a really good season, and so that when we made the move, that was part of the calculus. And I think everybody looks at these things as binary: yes, no, left, right, and I don't think it is that. I think it's making sure you have a certain level of play at the quarterback position for as long as Kevin and I are here. And I think we've set ourselves up to do that, and we're excited about that opportunity.
I'm not sure I know what anything meant. Yeah, not a lot, to be honest. A good line on the bet, and then he had to, of course, walk that back.
Yep.
So he does not get in trouble with Pete Rozelle.
I liked this one. Well, this one I didn't like, actually. I'm not going to waste your time with that one. Let's get to the schism because I know you're interested in it. KOC, he talked a lot about JJ. KOC was asked about JJ. When he got hurt, you said we've got the quarterback for the future. Somebody asked him about that. Did your opinion change with Darnold, the whole evaluation? And he was very KOC-like. I'll pare it down, essentially saying, yeah, I said that about JJ, but, future doesn't mean what you think it means. Future means future. And if you remember, I also said I really believe in Sam at the same time. So he also didn't really answer all of that. Now, the shorter answers, which I always think are the most interesting with KOC.
Can be.
The shorter ones. where he doesn't say much.
You got to read between the lines sometimes. By the way, before you get to that, there are a couple people texting who read something ominous into the fact that he was not wearing Vikings apparel today.
It's so funny that you bring that up because I saw those, and my initial reaction is calm down.
I don't know.
Because I watch most of the press conferences as part of the assorted duties here, right?
Yeah, you sure do.
And he oftentimes does not wear Vikings stuff.
I wanted it to be something.
And check out Kevin Seifert's, one of his most recent tweets. He writes, "No idea why I spent time on this, but for the geniuses who read into the KOC's lack of Vikings gear today,
I love it.
Here are some other examples of press conferences he gave this season without any apparent Vikings gear, usually on days like today when there was no practice." So Seifert went through and put together a couple of photoshops.
Fair to say he's dismissed it.
Yes.
Okay.
That's insane.
Okay. I'm the idiot.
Yeah. Do you want to
It
sign?
sounds fun, though.
Oh, it's great.
Doesn't it?
But I knew, and he also, KFC, he's a clothes horse, as you would like to say.
Big time.
Remember, even at training camp, he always talks about, like, he doesn't always wear exactly what he's supposed to, NFL rules, or like when we've had him on. He's like, I might get in trouble because I'm wearing Lululemon Vikings gear today, and it's got to be Nike or whatever it is. But KOC, do you want to sign a contract extension here?
I do. I
Okay.
do, and I've had great dialogue with our ownership.
Dialogue.
And this week in reflection, as the season came to an end, and anything beyond that, I would prefer to kind of keep those discussions internal.
All right, so what about this, though? Speaking of Kevin Seifert, he said there's been reports. Mike Florio's talked about it. He wrote a story at Pro Football Talk. Little tension between you and the owners because there hasn't been a contract extension that you think you richly deserve, KOC. Any tension with the owners? That was the direct question from Seifert. Anything you'd like to add to that, basically? Here was KOC's answer.
What I would say is I love being the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, and with that becomes the fact that I love our ownership. I have a great relationship with our ownership, and feel so fortunate. Like I said, not only just the way they support us and believe in us, but also the impact they have on our players, on our locker room, and ultimately where we all want to go together. Feel very, very great about that. And
That was 34 seconds. Let me just give you an example. His first answer was 18 seconds that we played.
Right.
About would you like to sign? Second answer there, 34 and a half seconds. The other ones I have in here, KOC on JJ, 1 minute and 54 seconds.
So he said nothing there.
Right.
Right.
And then I ran out of time before the show.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You came down, we started talking about some other stuff, and then I didn't have time to go through the rest of the press conference. But when he has a less than 30-second soundbite, it says more than when he talks for 2 minutes.
Well, I will be pretty gobsmacked if he's not back here with the club. The other angles are juicy. Draft picks, there's tension. He's going to demand a bunch of things. I don't know. The interesting question is, what is it going to take financially? Because obviously the Vikings made a decision, and I'm not offended by it, after last year that they didn't extend. So he's still got 1 year left in the deal, which means, I guess, he could play poker with himself and bet on himself and say, we're good. I'm fine. I'm under contract for next year. I'll take that.
Yeah.
And then we'll see. Then let's play. Let's see where we are at that point. But I don't expect it because my guess is with the Wills the way they are, unless they're crankier about this loss than I think, and they might have. I think they have a right to be. The way they work, my guess is they're going to make a good offer to him. It's going to be too much money for him to pass up, too much security for him to pass up, and he will indeed be running the club. Whether he'll have B-Flow as his defensive coordinator, that's probably that's a more suspenseful question, I think, as sexy as it is to wonder about the tension. And
right.
Because can anybody really be offended that the Vikings didn't extend after last year?
Offended? No. I was surprised.
Well, okay. But I guess maybe the better question would be, did the Wills were they out of line doing what they did? I think the answer is no.
No, probably not.
Now, you can say, guess what? We don't need another great winning season. We're doubling down on our belief.
We believe in them.
At a time where, I know, it's easy to say, well, it didn't go very well. You can do that, and you can look like a genius on the basis, quite frankly, of how good their regular season was. But I guess I don't buy. I think these are media-driven stories about ego where you go, well, yeah, maybe his feelings will be a little hurt. But I don't think that means we're all big boys and girls here. I mean,
it's not show friends.
KOC has to make tough decisions. No matter what his bedside manner is, he's still making, ruthless decisions when it comes to who's going to play and who isn't, and who they're going to cut and who they aren't. So I had no problem with the approach that they took. And I guess you have to decide what impact does the end of the season, the fact that there's still no playoff victories 3 years in, what kind of impact is that going to have on how far you're willing to go financially? And maybe that's where KOC becomes the smiling assassin. Says, are you kidding me? That's not even close. You waited? Fine. I'm going to get paid for those 14 victories, even if it ended as poorly as it did.
Real quick, Wolves lost last night. We talked about it a little bit. They lost to the Warriors, who are terrible.
It went well.
And were injured.
Yeah, especially early.
Horrific start.
Yeah.
Not a great finish, even though they made it a ball game. Late in the game, Dante DiVincenzo started limping around the court a little bit, and that had me worried. And the worry was warranted for a little alliteration. It is a left great toe sprain for Dante, who played great last night. He is out, already been ruled out for tomorrow night's game, his homecoming against the Knicks.
Boy.
Cat, by the way, with his right thumb sprain is questionable for tomorrow night. Now, here's the problem, Dan. I just did a quick Google. Mm-hmm. How long does a sprained toe take to heal? A mild sprain, about 2 weeks. A moderate sprain, up to 5 weeks. A severe sprain, 6 weeks or longer.
Come on. Just lop it off.
Hopefully it's mild.
Yeah, you better hope it's mild because he's been playing well. Right?
Outstanding.
We finally, it's the old deal of we kind of been waiting for him. He was disappointing early.
We got the guy we traded for.
And now we feel like we got the guy we traded for, but then we got some other problems and we still can't guard people and we still can't shoot three-pointers. And it's not a pleasant sensation right now. And we're maybe they'll surprise us with now that they're about to play really good teams, right? It's the Knicks next, as you said.
Yep.
Then it's the Cavs.
Yep. Here.
And then is it Denver and then Dallas or Dallas and then Denver?
I think Denver and then Dallas.
Now Dallas is up and down too, I guess.
Yes, they have injuries.
Denver has recovered nicely, right? Yeah, Dallas got a lot of injuries. But you're stepping up. So let's see. Maybe they'll do something with it and get people's attention there. We've both said this that this isn't complicated. Once the Vikings season ended, it was going to be harder to hide that kind of embarrassing first quarter performance because people now have somewhere else to turn. They want something else to pay attention to. And to a certain extent, the Vikings being as good as they were, I think allowed the casual fan to not really get all that worked up over the way that the Timberwolves were meandering throughout this season, basically around 500. Now all your cover has disappeared. It's gone. The attention's on you, man, and it's going to get ugly quickly if they can't garner some consistency.
If you'd like an update on the Wild game last night, they lost. If you'd like anything more than that, you can follow Kevin Fallness on X at Radio Fallness. He has all the information on the game last night. They lost to Edmonton. All
right, let's do some texting or get to some texts, and then we'll prepare for Kato Kaelin at the bottom of the hour. Stay tuned.
With New Year's resolutions, many of us will make a vow to eat healthier, and that's a good thing. But what about our beloved pets and their nutrition? Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, and I'm on a mission to provide better nutrition for cats and dogs because truthfully, all pet food is dead food, which is why we created Rough Greens and Meow Greens in the first place. We bring their food back to life with live vitamins, minerals, probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, antioxidants, and so much more. All in a tasty formula that your dog and cat will love. You can improve your pet's coat, digestion, energy, and have less vet bills. Let 2025 bring a new year and a new pet. Get a Jumpstart trial bag, normally $20. Get a 100% discount with promo code BESTFRIEND. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com, use promo code BESTFRIEND. Bring your pet's food back to life with Rough Greens. So good, your pet will ask for it by name.
Stop whatever you're doing, and if you can face to the west, take a look at the current sunset.
I can't.
It's a whopper.
Should I leave and go into the score?
I think you should. I'll
want me to
tap
walk in
dance.
there?
Yeah, go look in the score. It might change your life.
All right,
it just so happens there's a mix of clouds and light and the sun that is kind of cool. Yeah, it's not bad. In fact, this might be past the peak of it. Might have been better a little bit earlier, but it's pretty nice. And the days, they're getting longer again. It's 5:20. You realize that, Gaardsy? I mean, it's not pitch black yet, and it's 5:20. We're starting to head...
That looks like a painting.
...in the right direction. It actually does. The bad news is we're going to go sub-zero, right, well into next week. After we get this warming trend, then
melt
it turns
the snow
back, and then we're below zero. Is it 3 or 4 straight days?
Yeah, it's at least 3. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, for sure.
That many?
Ooh. Yeah, from what I remember.
That's not good.
I guess into Tuesday we'll have a high of 4. The high on Monday is 6 below. The high on Sunday, 4 below.
Oof.
Oh, my God.
That's not good.
Why do we do this?
Players are soft. Lots of guys looking forward to the 2 to 6 weeks off for a sprained toe, and can you blame them?
Not Dante.
Getting paid the same to sit on the bench. Players don't care about winning until late in the season. Nowadays, wow. That's rough. I don't think that's the biggest issue. I mean, there's some players for which that might apply, I think. I'm not sure we have necessarily any of those. There is some bitterness from the hockey community that we didn't spend more time in the Wild, even though they also lost. They had the bigger excuse, right? They're playing a good team, a better team.
And the cheap shot team.
And the cheap shot, and we're continued to be decimated by injury, correct? That's what we continue to do.
No Kaprizov, no Faber.
Yeah, it goes on and on. Well, as we talked about with Louis yesterday, you're in the playoffs. Right now, I think you got to change your thinking to let's just get everybody relatively healthy, right? And see if we can, garner the kind of momentum that has to do with just all your best players getting accustomed to playing with one another again, right? I mean, what do we got left? Some 30-some games in that range, I think?
Probably, yeah.
And something like that. Let's see, what else do we have here? If there is indeed a schism, as you mentioned, leading into a break, is it perhaps a scheduled schism? I'll hang up and listen. I might have overplayed the schism. It was suggested by shock jock Mike Florio, right, that there was potentially some. He's alleging that the source of tension between KOC and the ownership group was that they did not extend his contract after last season. Maybe it's even, you could have done it during the season, too. You could have had a big announcement during a bye week or whatever.
Yeah, they don't love doing that, I don't think.
I haven't heard anybody else confirm that schism. I do think there's been a lot of, the eyebrows have been raised over the timing of the report regarding KOC, other teams coming after him, offering, draft picks that, was that coming from KOC's agent to try to up the ante? I
rule nothing out there, probably.
I don't think you can rule anything out in that scenario, but I don't really think there's much reason to believe a significant schism. I think the only way it develops is the money. If all of a sudden the Wolves sit down and go, you want what? Is that like your last number you're willing to go to, or is this just the start of the negotiating game? That, to me, would be the only thing. And I don't even know what does your average, relatively successful National Football League coach make in 2025? I don't even know anymore.
They're approaching, Gruden was getting 10 a year from the Raiders, right, before he got fired.
Correct.
I think Peyton's up that way, 8, 9, 10 mil. I'd say it's got to be at least that. If your average...
What is he making now? Do we even know? I don't know if it's ever been established.
I'm sure it has been. I'm sure there's been
4
guesses.
4 to 5?
Probably a little bit more.
Okay.
I would guess. But again, that's just a guess.
So we got to get him to 10 without a playoff win? Just saying.
Yeah, I know that, but that's what it is.
I guess that's the way the market looks. That was one of your favorites.
Rosenbaum would get him 10.
Rosenbaum lines.
Rosenbaum would get him 12.
If I had $1 for every person he asked that question of, I'd be in Maui right now, long retired.
And I'll just never forget where we were. It was on the back of that boat in Lake Minnetonka.
That's true.
Not Mason's.
In your case. In the case of H. Lake, it was our house. I think it was a New Year's party. Yeah. And it was the same word. Exactly. What do they pay you over there?
Pay you?
It's just too good.
And then he had a guess, and I told him, it's about that. And then he's like, okay. Let me know if you need any help. What do they pay you? Just Ron and me on the back of the boat.
Oh, my goodness. By the way, and I'll save this for another day, I don't check the mail much because I didn't even think we have. Do we even have individual mailboxes anymore? Maybe we do, and I didn't even know it.
Oh, here?
Here.
Yeah.
So I never check because there's hardly any mail anymore. It's all online, whatever. Well, somebody must have gotten annoyed that my stuff had piled up because there were a couple of books and then there were some letters. And one of the letters was from, and I don't remember which prison he's in. It's for a prisoner, or from a prisoner who has a life sentence. And he wrote me a 3-page typewritten letter owing the late, great Joe Friedberg.
Wow.
And for all I know, he may have sent it a long time ago. I literally never checked my mailbox when Joe passed away. I don't know.
We basically have a shelf now below the mailboxes.
I see. That's what it is. Okay, so you got to go through the shelf. And I don't think a lot of us do, quite frankly. I don't. And it was like about the interest that Joe took in his case. It was fascinating to hear out of nowhere and how generous Joe was in terms of his time and not even talking anything about money, whatever the case. But it was kind of interesting. It's just an aside. I had one other text I wanted to get to here very quickly. I did also have, I wanted to do another seal of approval, but now I think we're better off. We're probably better off waiting. We'll save that. Is the sunset affected by the fires? That's what a lot of people are. So can the brush fires in Los Angeles and elsewhere have an impact on the vividness of the sunset here? I'm not mocking it.
No, I would think no.
I wouldn't. I mean, logically, I would say no, but maybe we don't have any idea how this stuff works.
People are really noticing the sunset.
They are
online.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of pictures.
It still looks good.
A lot of people.
It's. I think it's because of the way the clouds happen to be today. It's reflecting off the clouds. It's pretty impressive for sure. The Twins still have the bronze medal for the Yu Darvish sweepstakes. So is that what I'll check with Laval tomorrow.
I thought we were second.
I thought we were too.
Yeah.
Except we weren't second because there was first and there was nobody else. But
if you're not first, you're last.
Because one of his sources said we made a phone call. We talked to his agent. It was, hey, they were in the Darvish deal, which they never ever were. All right, let's make this the bottom of the hour pause. Buckle up, man. It's you never know how it's going to go or where it will end up when the K train, Kato Kaelin, joins us. But today made sense to have him on. You found the tweet about his connection with baseball immortality, correct?
Yeah. It was his dad.
With his dad. Exactly.
His dad coached him.
Exactly it. So we'll do our version of Ode to a Dead Guy. And we also have a clip we can play from the Letterman show that goes way, way, way back. So some good, I think, reflections on definitely one of the biggest broadcasting legends ever in the United States of America, right?
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
The man who, what was the mantra? Tickets in the front row, right?
Yep.
Something like that.
Yes.
We got to get the exact
front row seat.
word. Yeah, that's exactly it. So we'll get to that and much more now.
With New Year's resolutions, many of us will make a vow to eat healthier, and that's a good thing. But what about our beloved pets and their nutrition? Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, and I'm on a mission to provide better nutrition for cats and dogs because truthfully, all pet food is dead food, which is why we created Rough Greens and Meow Greens in the first place. We bring their food back to life with live vitamins, minerals, probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, antioxidants, and so much more. All in a tasty formula that your dog and cat will love. You can improve your pet's coat, digestion, energy, and have less vet bills. Let 2025 bring a new year and a new pet. Get a Jumpstart trial bag, normally $20. Get a 100% discount with promo code BESTFRIEND. You discover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com, use promo code BESTFRIEND. Bring your pet's food back to life with Rough Greens. So good, your pet will ask for it by name.
Well, New York, down, they did it. And the crew will have it end here tonight. Really a crushing end to what was a fabulous season for the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm telling you, that one had some sting on it.
The final call, broadcast call for a baseball legend, Bob Uecker, is the man. And, of course, the word breaking earlier today that he had died at the age of 90 years old. He'd been battling, I believe, small cell lung cancer since early in 2023 is what his family had revealed. He spent 54 seasons calling Brewers games and became probably as well known in the world of entertainment, motion in the major league movies, as well as in the 1980s sitcom Mr. Belvedere. And it turns out, of course, Kato Kaelin grew up in the greater Milwaukee area. Grew up on that team. And we come to find out that there's another connection between Kato, or I should say the Kato Kaelin family, and Bob Uecker. So we first welcome, for the first time in a while, K-Train back via the Connecticut Water Systems Hotline. K-Train, how you been?
Hop on the train. Dan, always great to hear your voice. I'm starting to see a pattern here. When someone passes away, you call me.
That is unfortunate, isn't it? Yeah, you're right.
It is. I'll tell you what, though. Actually, I think it's more of a celebration of Bob Uecker's life. That clip you played, that was the most emotional clip for me also when Brewers lost to the Mets with the Alonso homer off Devin Williams.
That's right.
The number one reliever in the MLB. So, and I feel bad that Bob never saw the World Series, and it's 54 years, Uecker. And I followed Brewers for 54 years, and I, like him, that's all I wanted to see a World Series victory. But, my connection is really incredible of Uecker. He knows about this, too, because I've been in the broadcast booth with him. I'll get to that in a little bit when I went to a Dodger game, and Norm Macdonald and I went into the booth. But my dad coached St. Boniface. I sent the picture on Twitter.
Yes, I see it. It's tremendous.
Catholic school. If you look at the picture really closely and you kind of zoom in with your finger, you'll see the priest in the middle. Mm-hmm. I swear to God, I think that's Mel Cooley from the old Dick Van Dyke Show.
That's perfect. You're right. That's brilliant.
So in that picture, my dad was the coach of Uecker of St. Boniface. And through the years, now time passes. I'm a fourth grader at a parochial school. And my dad gets Uecker to speak to the Breakfast Club with all the boys there, and we're fourth graders. And I put the nerve up to raise my hand to ask my question to Bob Uecker. And by the way, he was already a superstar, especially in Milwaukee. He was a god. So he picked on me as a fourth grader. I said, "Hi, Mr. Uecker. My dad coached you. I have this picture, and I want you to think, was my dad a good coach?" And Uecker said, without missing a beat, he goes, "Your dad was a really good coach." He said, "Bob, stay out of basketball. Get into baseball." So
that's pretty good. The photo is great.
And Uecker was more than kind. I brought that story up, and he remembered it, and so it made me go, "Boy, this is a real human being." And even doing the major league shows, and in my days when I hung out with Charlie Sheen, he played Wild Thing. Yep. He would just go on to say Uecker was the coolest. They were in Cleveland Major League, but that was filmed at County Stadium. And they filmed all the scenes of baseball with Harry Doyle and Bob Uecker.
Sure.
That's all in Milwaukee. I don't know if people knew that. And a lot of the guys that I'm friends with now at the Brewers PR department, the writers, Todd Rosiak is one of the writers for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. He wrote an incredible article today about Uecker and what it was like working every year with him and how he would pick on people's names to always give a little tap and have that friendship thing going on. I mean, the guy, the American Family Field right now it's got flowers everywhere. It transcends Milwaukee, it transcends everywhere it goes to. Major League Baseball, the person, entertainment world. This clips on Johnny Carson. He was a superstar and such a good human being. And you remember all the Miller Lite commercials.
Absolutely.
And it's the old, it was a different time. And even when I went into the Dodger Stadium with Norm Macdonald, who he has his own separate story. Don't get into it. You can watch those on Howard Stern. But I remember the many times going in the booth, and when it wasn't on air, you could press the cough button and have it delayed. A few F-bombs.
Yes,
so
right. Well,
but it was great, and it was great that there was a connection, and he knew that I was also on Twitter, like, I'm passionate.
Yes,
I'm
you
ugly,
are.
but
Yes,
I'm passionate.
you are.
I just wanted a victory. But now, in hindsight, now it's really small potatoes. He's gone now. So,
well, how aware was Uecker of your proclivities on Twitter? Because, as you say, you can get pretty worked up when the team did not win or when they collapse or whatever. So, did he ever see it? Did anybody ever make him aware of the K-Train approach when it comes to analyzing the Brewers?
I'm pretty sure Mike Lasalo, the head PR guy, mentioned about me wanting. He goes, "We want you to throw out a game ball. We really want you to throw out a game ball. We can't do it because of your tweets. You're an X." So it's a true story.
That's funny.
I said, "Dan, I really want to throw out a ball. I got the uniform, everything they gave me," and I said, "I'm going to do it." 2 weeks into it, I'm already being ugly.
Can't help yourself.
I could hold in the passion.
No, you can't. I mean, that's just part of being the K-Train. That's just part of the deal. What's interesting?
Yeah, I hope I can one day throw it out. But
you know what?
Man,
sooner or later you will.
They got the statue of Uecker, up in the bleachers,
right.
In the high-rise seats where you can go and see the golden statue.
Well, what's interesting to me about him, obviously, there's a lot of legendary broadcasters for teams that do the job as long as he did or close to it. But Uecker crossed over, man, and as you mentioned, the TV shows, the movies, into the popular culture in a way that's very rare, for a big time broadcaster.
Oh, no kidding! I really think that what made him get everything that he got was I think it was over 100 times he appeared on Johnny Carson. And I think everybody just kind of fell in love with this guy. Just his deadpan style. He's on Mr. Belvedere. I don't know how many seasons he did that, but he was a guy, this is my opinion, this is a guy that was shooting Mr. Belvedere. And it felt like he was that fish out of water. He didn't really care about Hollywood. And that's what made it even more enjoyable.
True.
He could care less about the spotlight. And that's why he was so great to watch on that show. It's kind of like, okay, I do this, but my true love is baseball.
Tell me about, you said you were in the booth with him, with Norm Macdonald once. Tell me about that.
Yeah. We went to Dodger Stadium, and Norm said, "Did you know Uecker?" I said, "Yeah, I actually have met him a few times." He goes, "Let's watch him and listen to him to play-by-play." And I think he and Norm, they did a commercial together for Miller Lite. So there was the greeting, the hug in between an inning. And then Norm goes, "This is Katie." He goes, "I know who you are. You drive the Bronco." I said, No, Bob. No. So he was really intrigued with the OJ stuff. I said, "No, Bob, I love baseball." I told him my dream was I played at Wisconsin Eau Claire as a pitcher. We played against a lot of Minnesota schools. Mm-hmm. That was my I can't remember what school was my first pitch. It was against Minnesota. But I just remember baseball. We'd be playing in 30-degree weather going, this is not what I think of baseball.
Definitely not what you think of it.
It's cold. There's no indoor parks. But anyways, I told Bob how my love for baseball, how I went to Cal State Fullerton. He knew Augie Garrido, all the baseball lore. And, basically he just said, "You're not going to make it." I said, "No, Bob, I know I haven't made it. I'm older now." But he was intrigued with all the OJ stuff and asked me the typical OJ question.
Sure. Yes, you're used to those. That's for sure. So did you hang out a lot with Norm Macdonald, too?
At one time, I got Norm into every sport. Norm was about 6'3", and I said, "Why don't you get in my basketball league?" So I thought Norm was good. And he was, at first, god-awful. And then as it progressed, he got so much better.
Really?
And, we had a basketball league with Norm, and we golfed many times together. He, not myself, but he and Artie Lang golfed with Uecker. And there's some stories that I won't get into. Artie can talk about those.
Right.
But I golfed a few times with him and with Dan Patrick. We golfed at Shadow Creek in Vegas and had quite a few great golf stories. But the Uecker was just kind of at the school when I was growing up. And, my dad telling coaching stories. And
that's great.
That he, and that picture also, Dan, you might find this of interest. In the front row, if people later can check it out, the guy holding the basketball, the taller one with the crew cut and the cross chain.
Yes.
You see it?
Yes, I do.
That's Frank Lieber. Lieber, CBS Sports.
You're kidding me. I knew Frank from Dallas days because I was in Dallas at the same. In fact, I had to write the Frank Gleber obituary for the Dallas Morning News when he died.
Well, then you must have included. He's a Wisconsin guy.
Yes, I'm sure I did. You know what I love about this photo? It's such an old school. Just the looks on the faces of the kids, as you say, the Monsignor, whatever. The way they've got the ball between two of them. It's so old school. It just cracks me up.
You know what? It is brilliant. The tennis shoes.
Yes.
How polished it looks with the 47, the year of 47, 48 on the basketball. The seriousness. You would think that this is from communist China.
Exactly right. That's very, very true. Let me read you.
And even I look at there, my dad in the shot. You know, he's the only guy. He's the only guy in the vest and tie.
Yeah, I see that.
It's the perfect coach look. Am I right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, he's got the coach look going. It looks like the high pants. He's got the little sweater on, the tie under, and the dress shirt, the whole bit. Yeah. Oh, everybody looks so serious.
The pleats and the pants. It's just it hangs in my office, and I freaking love that picture. I see it every day. Well, so when I got all the messages this morning, it was like, man, I'm gonna do that picture because that picture means a lot to me. I think it means a lot to other people. And the people of Milwaukee it was such a gift to have him. Honestly, I'd go back. Everybody would want to listen to Uecker call a game. Towards the end, he would call certain ones. He wasn't traveling as much, but I listened to probably 98% of the games last summer and watched. I was really involved. I rarely missed any Brewer games, so I was really watching the year. And I finally said, "This team is young and hot. I think Kato, you're going to get a World Series." And then, as baseball fans know, what happened with Pete Alonso drilling the HR.
Yeah, which you took really calmly, as I recall. You took very calmly. By the way, in the photo that you sent, the pphoto we're just talking about, the photo that we've been talking about with your dad, and who coached him in the game of basketball, Bob Uecker. It looks to me like Bob Uecker, the kid, is the only guy smiling in the photo.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. You can tell he's a troublemaker, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's an impish quality even there. If you had,
what it is?
What's that?
Do you know what it is?
What's that?
That's the original Eddie Haskell.
That's very good callback as well. The kids won't know who Eddie Haskell is, but of course Eddie Haskell was the impish troublemaker in the highly successful television series from the 50s and maybe early 60s. Leave It to Beaver. I don't know when it went.
I think it's the 60s. And
was
it 60s? Leave It to Beaver, right?
Yeah, it was tremendous. Yeah, very true.
Who turned L.A. cop. So
that's right.
I got the history of anything.
You got it all, but you have lived an interesting life, Kato. There's no question. Yeah. If you had to describe the Uecker just day to day, broadcast style, how would you describe it? Was he a tough guy? Was he sing-songy? What was the average approach for Bob Uecker in his prime? Would you say on a given any given ball game, any given summer?
Of his tone, you're saying?
Yeah, just his style and just the approach that he took to the job.
I always looked at Uecker. Personally, I always thought of Uecker. It wasn't as outgoing, but clothing-wise and his style of not caring about anything, what people thought of the role Rodney Dangerfield played in Caddyshack. And that's what I always compared Uecker to. Lower key, but
yes.
Sense of humor. He could pick on people.
Right.
But when he picked on you, you knew it was endearing and you wanted to be picked on because he knew that he noticed you. So I felt like when I met him in the booth at the Dodger game that he picked on me, but I thought it was also totally in fun. I could feel it, and I could feel it was, okay, he's one of us. He's a good guy. So that, makes you feel a lot better about it. And just the knowing the relationship. And also, my dad only had a few stories because it was high school and actually maybe even grade school from that picture. I think it's high school. But, it's high school, St. Boniface.
Looks like high school, yeah.
So, I guess that's sort of the connection to know this. And honestly, when my dad got him to speak at this breakfast, and he didn't have to do it. He was already a star. And he came to this sort of poor parochial school. We, and did the church breakfast in the basement. And it was like, okay, come on. The guy obviously is not getting paid. He's just doing this because he loves it, and he's going to get free pancakes and sausage. So it speaks of what kind of person this guy was.
No question.
And everybody that I know in the Brewer staff that I've met through the years and talking to, everybody says the same thing about Uecker. Down to earth, always cared about anybody. Doesn't care if it's the $1 million owner of the team or the guy who sells concessions. It's the same.
Yeah, he had that everyman quality to him. There's no question that I think
the everyman quality is why he became a big star.
Yeah, there's no question.
Sort of, people that watch the shows are from the Midwest, like myself and you, and that's it. I think ratings for any show gravitate towards that.
No question about it. We appreciate catching up. I know, like you said, we'll try to do it where it's not after tragedy. But as you mentioned, I think a lot of people, it's more celebration of his style, his life. It gives us a chance to champion his cause, the whole bit.
Real quick story to tell you. My dad's name is Al, and I'm Al Kaelin. But one of the bits my dad used to do was to tell people he was Al Kaelin, and he played for the Tigers.
Yes.
Until he got caught by someone because the kids said, my dad wants you to speak at our place. So my dad was put in a big spot and finally had to say, I'm not the same Al Kaelin. And anybody would have known that because by that time my dad was at least 50, 60 pounds overweight.
Oh, my God.
So,
he got busted.
Kaelin.
Al Kaelin. I love that. That's brilliant. Your father.
Not just the battery, but also my dad, Al Kaelin.
K-Train?
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for the time. Be good.
Also, I want to thank you for always. You have been so good to us on my show on 1 Degree of Scandalous. And thank you for always watching that too.
100%.
Myself and Tom Zenner.
No question about it. We'll keep on keeping on. We'll be in touch soon. Thanks for the help as always.
I love it, man. Have a great weekend coming up.
You too. Thanks, man.
Say bye to Gaardsy.
We'll do it. Thanks, Kato.
Bye, Dan. I love you.
The one and only K-Train, Kato Kaelin. Who knew he would become such a popular guest on the Bumper to Bumper program? Who knew he had all these connections, all these tentacles, hung out with Norm Macdonald forever as well? In fact, I want to play. I think we have enough time to play it. Before we do, there's a bit of sound I want to play, but Stephen River Falls checks in. Uecker played minor league ball in Eau Claire, Wisconsin's Carson Park, and they have a small banner of his playing days up in their grandstand. He writes that 2 to 3 years ago, I was at an Eau Claire Express game there when the then Brewers manager, Craig Counsell, and his wife, Michelle, attended to watch their son playing for the opposing team. I saw Michelle spot the banner. He tells Craig, who got out his phone, took a picture, and then, or so it looked to me, texted it to Uecker. An interesting... everybody seems to have, especially in Wisconsin, some kind of Uecker connection. Norm Macdonald was one of the guys that the late great Norm Macdonald's one of the guys that Kato was talking about that he used to hang with and was up in the press box at Dodger Stadium once to see Uecker, who Macdonald knew well. Let's listen to a soundbite that's been getting a lot of attention today. A story Macdonald's telling on David Letterman that kind of captures the true quality, the true essence of Bob Uecker.
And John Fogerty was in the audience. Fortunate son, So John Fogerty was there. So Bob Uecker is a very interesting guy. He thinks of everybody as the same. He doesn't think of people as stars or anything like that. He's a very down-to-earth guy. So he was talking to me, and he says, "Hey, man, you know that guy?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "That's John Fogerty, rock and roll singer." So I go, yeah, I know who it is. He goes, "Yeah, man." He goes, "But I played in a golf tournament with him." He goes, "You probably think of him as some that likes to bite the heads off of chickens, but this guy can." That's exactly how I think of him. This guy can get it out of the sand trap like nobody's business. So he goes, he's got a hell of a set of pipes on him. He goes, come the 7th inning stretch, I'll have him up here. He'll sing for you. So I said, no, don't do that. Like, don't have him come up and sing for me, please. He goes, "What's the matter, man? Don't you even know who he is?" So I go, "Yes, Bob, I know who he is. He did Creedence Clearwater Revival." He goes, "Yeah, he did all that."
A couple of expletives, of course, that you can probably figure out. I've heard that soundbite like a million times, and I'm as fascinated because of the Macdonald part, as I am the Uecker part, quite frankly.
And the Letterman laugh was always...
Yeah, the Letterman laugh.
He would get that laugh going when somebody would make him laugh.
Letterman, and there were I think probably 10 people that made Letterman laugh that much. Norm Macdonald was one of them.
Exactly
there
right.
There really weren't very many.
Exactly
that
right.
would get him to that particular place. So, good work from Kato.
Uecker, by the way, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, also blew me off for an autograph.
Is that right?
When I was a kid, spring training, Arizona, 1994 or whatever.
Was he
He just kept walking.
He's ignored
I was
you?
following him in Mesa, Arizona. Mr. Uecker, from Major League.
He never looked
loved
down?
It. No.
Never looked at?
No.
Over? Never stopped?
I overcame a lot, man.
You
I really
did.
overcame a lot.
It's amazing you've turned out the way you've turned out.
Maybe that's why I went to 5 colleges.
You've been deprived a bunch of times. Anybody else? Is there a trifecta? Kareem?
Oh, there's McEnroe who wouldn't do the liners at the X.
That's right.
That was when I was an adult. I get told no a lot.
You forgive, but you don't forget.
It's funny.
We're out early today for Golden Gopher men's basketball. They are hosting the red hot Michigan Wolverines, still looking for that first Big Ten victory. No Friday football beast tomorrow, but a lot of good guests. We hope you'll join us beginning at 3 o'clock.
I'll be around.
With New Year's resolutions, many of us will make a vow to eat healthier, and that's a good thing. But what about our beloved pets and their nutrition? Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, and I'm on a mission to provide better nutrition for cats and dogs because, truthfully, all pet food is dead food, which is why we created Rough Greens and Meow Greens in the first place. We bring their food back to life with live vitamins, minerals, probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, antioxidants, and so much more. All in a tasty formula that your dog and cat will love. You can improve your pet's coat, digestion, energy, and have less vet bills. Let 2025 bring a new year and a new pet. Get a Jumpstart trial bag, normally $20. Get a 100% discount with promo code BESTFRIEND. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com, use promo code BESTFRIEND. Bring your pet's food back to life with Rough Greens. So good, your pet will ask for it by name.